So today we're going to be looking at a scenario where Poland forms an empire in 2021. Poland is going to be buffed up in this video just so they can take over parts of Europe and form their new empire. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now Poland here is going to be forming an empire, and like I've said, they're going to have to be buffed up a little bit just so they can take on some of their stronger neighbors. Poland is going to need to build up a pretty large army to keep their country secure. Speaking of being secure, that is going to lead me to this video's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by AdizzVPN. AdizzVPN was created by cybersecurity specialists and IT engineers in 2020. With over 6 million users worldwide, Atlas was created to make internet accessible and secure for everyone. If you don't know what a VPN is, VPNs allow your internet traffic to travel through an encrypted tunnel. This way, it protects you from spying, public Wi-Fi dangers, and hides your IP address and your online activities. Right now, AdizzVPN is running a huge discount. You can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.39 a month, and if Atlas isn't for you, then there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can game and stream at high speeds, protect unlimited devices, block malicious links, ads, and trackers, and even save some coins while shopping online. You can set your point to countries such as the United Kingdom and view all the shows that are unavailable in your area. As you can see, the UK has many different shows compared to the US. Personally, this is one of my favorite features, and I use it pretty often. Another one of my favorite features that Atlas provides is the data breach monitor feature. This allows you to track any leaks of personal information, such as your email address, username, and password. If you're looking for a VPN that is high quality but also cheap, I recommend AdizzVPN. I've been using this service for a while now, and it's everything I could ask for in a VPN. Once again, Atlas is running a huge discount. This means you can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.39 a month, with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click our special link in the description below to get access to AdizzVPN Cyber Month deal with 86% off and 3 extra months for free. And now it's time for Poland to form their empire. So Poland is going to be represented by the color of red throughout this video, and everything that it attacks will be represented by the color of blue. The first thing that Poland does is declare war on Belarus. Now this may not be a surprise to many people considering the current problems these two countries are having, but right away Polish troops flood over the border and start to enter into Belarus. The Polish troops go far into Belarus and start to near Minsk. Now Russia sees this happening, and they're not going to necessarily come to Belarus's aid, but they are going to instead declare war on Belarus in order to kind of save the country. So now instead of Poland being Polanded, we are having Belarus being Polanded. So now the total destruction of Belarus is starting, with Russia pushing in from the east and Poland pushing in from the west. Eventually Belarus surrenders and a peace conference is set up. Now in the peace treaty, we do have some pretty ugly borders here, but these are going to be temporarily. Anyway, from here Poland starts to ramp up its army and gets a lot of recruits in their military. From here they use this to invade Ukraine, and we're going to be seeing a pretty similar story that is going to be happening to Ukraine here. Once again, we have Russia joining the war in spite of Ukraine. This is just to kind of stop Poland from expanding at all, and to also just annex Ukraine, because we all know Russia wants to do that in real life. So now Ukraine has 2 giants crashing down on either side, and this really isn't going to end well for Ukraine. Kiev soon falls, and eventually all of Ukraine surrenders. So now we have a very thick Poland here. This is looking great, but it's not complete yet. Anyway, from here, Poland once again is eyeing up its neighbors, and obviously Slovakia and Czechia aren't looking too strong for Poland to kind of not invade. So they're probably going to do just that. But this time they do it a little bit differently and declare war on both at the same time, since Poland would most likely be able to take both. Now in real life, Poland has some pretty good relations with Hungary, so Hungary goes ahead and joins the war on Poland's side. Now together, these two countries start to invade both Czechia and Slovakia. I guess it would be easier for me to just say Czechoslovakia. But yeah, eventually both of these countries fall, and they are now under Hungarian and Polish rule. Now since Poland and Hungary have now kind of forged an alliance, Poland is going to be a little bit nice to Hungary here. Now this right here was previously annexed by Poland, but if you know anything about Hungary's old borders, they did once have a pretty big large area over here in Central Europe, which did consist of all of Slovakia and this little portion of what is now Ukraine. So Poland gives that back to Hungary, and this is the peace treaty we are left with. Once again, Poland expanding. So just to make it official, Poland and Hungary signed the Central European Pact alliance. So where do they go now? Well, I think it's time for some revenge. That's right, Germany is going to be declared war upon, and Hungary is also going to be helping out Poland here just because they're allies. So right away, we have a mass amount of Polish troops centered near Berlin, and these troops basically just join across and capture Berlin very quickly. Now this was obviously a very large buildup of troops, and they had to push through German defenses. But eventually they did do that, and they captured Berlin relatively quickly. From here, Poland gathers its second largest army to push into Bavaria, which is a very economically powerful region of Germany. And with that, Germany slowly starts to crumble, although the German economy is something to compare to Poland's economy. After taking over about half of Germany, Germany decides to kind of just surrender and hope to God that Poland doesn't annex all of it. So now we have a very very long Poland here. And honestly, it looks kind of weird just having a stretched out version, so let's go ahead and say that they expand south and north. So looking at Lithuania here, well, we all know what's going to happen. That's right, we have the formation of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Now, I'm not really sure if Lithuania wanted this, but since Poland is a power, I'm going to go ahead and assume that they kind of just did it because they didn't want to die. Once again, Poland expanding north, this time into Latvia. Now, this is a pretty quick battle for Poland to deal with. Now, they have Lithuanian help in this region, which Lithuania is pretty familiar with, so they invade upwards and take out all of Latvia. The Conference of Riga happens, and all of Latvia is annexed by Poland. So perhaps one of Poland's final stunts is to invade its largest enemy in history, which is Russia. Now, at this time, Russia isn't very stable, considering it just annexed Ukraine, and Ukraine probably won't like that. So after gathering a total of 3.4 million troops, Poland starts the largest land invasion in history. Now, this has just passed Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union in World War II. So, we know that Poland means business here. Right away, Kaliningrad falls easily to Poland, and Polish troops start to swarm into Russia, starting to near major cities such as Kiev and Minsk. Actually, Minsk was already captured since it's like right on the border. But Kiev is right there, so they're going to go ahead and try to get that, as well as St. Petersburg, which is up there, another major city to try to capture. We could annex Stalingrad, but that's way over there, and it's not even called Stalingrad anymore. But the main city in Russia is Moscow, which I think is like right there. So that is going to be Poland's main goals. They're going to want to capture these 4 major cities, and we will most likely see the surrender of Russia. So like I said, Polish troops were ready for this. They swarm in and start to take over major parts of Russia, such as Odessa. They then push up and capture Kiev, and Ukraine starts to be liberated. Up north, though, the push isn't going so well, as Poland is seeing a lot of Russian defenses up here. Keep in mind that this is mainland Russia up here that they are invading. Down here, this used to be Belarus, and this used to be Ukraine, so it isn't fully assimilated into Russia. Therefore, their military might not be as strong. But now they pretty much pushed back all of those lines, and they are invading mainland Russia now. Now, it wouldn't be a war on Russia without the inclusion of Finland, so Finland goes ahead and declares war on Russia. Right away, we see Finnish troops pushing down towards St. Petersburg and also up into the Kola Peninsula over here in order to kind of cut Russia off, probably about right there. In this war, we also see the inclusion of Estonia. This is basically to kind of get on Poland's good side as to not get invaded, but also Estonia is a good friend of Finland, so why wouldn't they join in? So now Russia is in a lot of trouble as Poland starts to push towards Moscow and a lot of their major cities. Up north, we have Finland reaching the gates of St. Petersburg, but they are stopped as they meet a fierce Russian defense. Over in the Kola Peninsula, though, they really see no defense at all and easily manage to take over the entire peninsula. Now, I know this map looks really bad. I know it's horrible. This is horrible. But I do plan on kind of tracing over this and making a better one. This map is the map that I use for pretty much every video, and when it's zoomed out, it looks really good, but when you zoom in, you can kind of see how it's kind of flawed. So I will be redoing this and making it better for the future videos. It's probably going to take me like an hour though, so anyway, no one cares about that. Let's go back to Russia. Now we have Polish and Estonian troops pushing into St. Petersburg from the other side and taking the city. From here, we have Russia's troops falling back as the Red Team's troops are overwhelming Russia's. It is at this point that Poland doesn't make the same mistake that Germany made, and they manage to take out all of the Caucasus region of Russia. And from here, basically Russia is lost. All they have now is the capital, which is Moscow. And all of this is really kind of useless to Russia. I mean, there's oil there, so that's not useless, but there's no major cities over here other than down here. So I'm sure that once Moscow falls, Russia will surrender. But then we have Russia's best friend coming in to join in and help Russia out. Now, this place is going to be helping out Russia a lot. It's going to be helping them push back the Red Team a lot. And overall, it's probably Russia's greatest ally. That's right, boys. The winter has set in, and Russia is now pushing back Poland and its allies. They managed to push all the way down and cut off a Polish army from the rest of the main Polish army. From here, they can push in, but they do have some troubles traveling through the mountains. We see a lot of setback on the Polish front, but not a lot on the Finnish front, as Finland is Finland, and they can deal with this kind of stuff. Polish troops start to dig in for the winter, and just wait it out. And after it's waited out, Russia just starts to get annihilated once again, and the push towards Moscow has started. So now taking a very zoomed in look at this war, we can see that we have Moscow highlighted here, and this is what Poland has managed to accomplish. Now I'm pretty sure Moscow is like right there. I'm not exactly sure, so I apologize if I'm wrong, which I know I am. But for the sake of this video, and just for the sake of me not wanting to redo this, Moscow is now located right here. Anyway, like I said in the previous Empire video, I'm going to be trying to include more detailed aspects of the video. So in this case, we're going to be having a detail aspect, which is the fall of Moscow. So we have the 1st Polish Division making a grand push towards the city. Now they're fighting the main Russian defenses as they start to close in towards Moscow. We can see here that this division's tactics is just to go straight forward, and we kind of have this kind of weak spot right here and right here, in which Russia could use to their advantage. So they do just that and start to push in on both sides, cutting off a lot of these troops' supply lines. Now, what Russia didn't anticipate here is that they had two flank divisions, Division 2 and Division 3, stationed to kind of also counteract this and to cut off these Russian troops. So we have the flank getting flank here, and we have the 3rd Polish Division pushing up and cutting off these troops from the rest of Russia. Now, unlike the 1st Polish Division up here, these guys reinforced their front, so there's no way Russia is getting through this. Soon after, the 2nd Polish Division does the same thing and cuts off these Russian troops. This event was known as the Grand Flank of Moscow and is seen as Russia's biggest kind of like, dang, you messed up moment. So the 1st Polish Division now holds a front line across all of this flank, while the 2nd and 3rd Division do the work and get rid of the Russian armies they surrounded. Now that was a lot of Russia's army, but it wasn't all of it, so Russia does still have a defense. This doesn't really stop Poland though, as they start to get closer and closer to the city. Eventually, a major Russian division actually gets up north here. They were previously fighting down here near Kazakhstan, but they decided that their capital is a lot more important than just some area over here, and we actually do see a pushback of Russia in this region. It is a pretty significant pushback, but it really is nothing compared to the Polish army in the north, which is known as the 16th Division. This division's main tactic is just to push through, much similar to the 1st Division, except it's more, I guess, kind of like reinforced. So this is a strong division coming through and cutting off a lot of supply lines up here in the north. Seeing this, Russian troops right here start to fall back just a little bit, once again giving Poland the edge here, and they start to focus on cutting back this flank. But now we are met with the 15th Division of the Polish Army and the 22nd Division of the Polish Army. These two are mainly flank divisions, and they move around in order to capture Moscow, which they do so successfully. From here, we have the reinforcement divisions moving into this flank and holding off the Russian troops on the outside, as the main invasion divisions start to push in and get near Moscow. Slowly but surely, the area around Moscow starts to be taken, and eventually the city is completely surrounded, with only the city remaining. After lots of fighting and tons of death, we have probably one of the most bloody battles in the Polish-Russian War. We do actually have the fall of Moscow. With this, we have the rearrangement of these divisions, and the push into Russia continues until the Russian government officially surrenders. It isn't long though until the Russian government does surrender, and we have the Polish victory that we've been wanting to see. And when it comes to the final peace treaty of this video, we are left with a beautiful Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the greatest extent that Poland has ever expanded in history. Another thing that I said in the last Empire video was that I'm going to start showing the kind of states/provinces of these countries. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. They're breaking down Poland here. We can actually see that it's not made up of that many states. So starting off in the west, we have the German state. Now, this is a very small state, and honestly, it may not even be a state for much longer because the Polish government has been considering just annexing it under Polish territory. A little bit south of that, we have the Bavarian state, which is definitely not anything like Bavaria is, but since countries like to redraw borders a lot, this is what Bavaria has now. And speaking of bad borders, this is what Czechia has been reduced to. So once again, we have Poland just rearranging borders and kind of meeting their own needs. Over here in the center, we have the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which is just Poland if you want to be simple about it. A little bit north of that, we have Latvia. Now, this is just the same borders that Latvia was left with. Nothing has really changed for them. Heading on down to the south, we have Crimea, which is just Crimea, as you would think. And now we are left with the two biggest states. Now, actually, this state is bigger than Poland, so I could kind of see some kind of, I guess, declaration of independence in the future. But right now, Poland has firm control over this region, so they're not going anywhere. But yeah, we now have a Polish empire in 2021. So that's that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment if you're new. That really shows me that you guys are enjoying these videos. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, make sure to check out AdizzVPN. They are currently running the best VPN deal on the market for only $1.39 a month for 3 years. Click the special link in the description to get started. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.